What up, everybody? It's JHawk and Kaiju Kent. And if we're here, that means we're talking about Godzilla. So let's get right on into it, man.
Let's do it.
We're going to be talking about Monarch here. We're going to be reviewing the series as it has ended.
For all three of you that have Apple TV.
I think we'll start off with what we rate it, out of 5. We'll just give a score just in case you want to watch it before we get into like the spoilers, because after we rate it, we're going into spoilers.
See, I was rating it out of 10 in my head, and it got me doing math I wasn't ready to do.
What's hilarious is I was thinking about doing it in 10, but because we're under the Blerd bar banner, we do it in 5s.
Okay,
I wanted to do
yeah.
it in 10. I was thinking about that.
It should be simple math divided by 2. All right.
You
Yeah,
ready?
I'm good.
All right, so I will say for me, I'm going to give it a 2.7 out of 5.
Okay, I would give it a 3.5.
Ooh.
That'd be 7 out of 10. Yeah, 3.5.
3.5? You're gonna... Okay. All right. We're already starting off with drama.
Let me say, I don't think every episode was a 3.5. I'm grading all 10 episodes on an average. I think there were high highs, and I think there were some low lows, and I think they average out to something that was overall pretty good.
I feel the same way, but that's why my score is I feel like the low lows really dragged it down.
All right, well, let's get into it.
If you think about GPAs, a C will not boost your GPA.
I try not to think about GPAs anymore. I was hoping that was behind me.
Right. But if you get a D, your shit drops.
Yeah, it does. I don't think I ever quite. So let's get into it.
All right, let's get into it.
What did you like about it?
All right, so off the bat, when I heard that there was going to be a Godzilla series, I was very excited.
Okay.
Because I feel like the first live action series.
It is the first live action series, like TV series in the MonsterVerse.
In the monster, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was an animated thing even earlier this year, a Kong Skull Island anime that I still haven't seen, and really didn't get a lot of word of mouth. It didn't get a lot of buzz.
Well, I don't even care about Kong, but I'm talking about just Godzilla.
Godzilla in general,
This is Afro Izakaya, so we're
all right, if you want to talk about Godzilla, Godzilla series, there was Godzilla the series, the animated series based off of the animated. 1998. Oh, yeah, right. So we're talking live action?
This is the only live action that I can remember to date that's happened. So, high hopes. I was like, ooh, technology has finally let us do this thing. And it happened. What I liked about it, or I'll say this, everything I liked about it happened in the past of the series.
I think is easy thing we can agree on. The past timeline was stronger than the present.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Everything that I really did not like about it surrounded the kids.
Yeah, but I think we're on the same page there. It's
and you still gave it the
because while I didn't love every moment spending with the kids.
Scooby-Doo and the gang?
Yeah, because you know who was Scooby-Doo? Who was the reason we were there? Kurt Russell. And he did work, and he brought that up. I can't pretend that man doesn't have that enough charm to make me forget about the blander aspects of it.
I mean, it was fun when he was around, but when he wasn't, or honestly though, even in some of the scenes where he was around, the kids, for me, I don't know. They booked it. They booked the gig, so shout outs to them. So I don't know if it was the direction or the writing, maybe a little bit of both for me. But their reasons behind doing some of the actions were unbelievable.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like human drama. Sometimes, I'm here for the soapiness of it sometimes.
Oh, jeez.
And there's nothing that really sates that thirst more than people making the worst possible decisions for their personal lives. And guess what? This show is mostly that.
Oh my goodness.
It's people making terrible decisions for their personal lives.
One thing that I didn't really even like about it was at the end of the series. You've been watching you've been watching the beginning credits whole way through, right? You're seeing all these images. It's like the butterfly effect, a keyhole here, a keyhole there. Yeah. you enter in, and this guy has 2 families, right?
Yeah, Hiyoshi.
He out here
Hiroshi.
slanging out here in these streets.
I was consistently waiting for, like, are they going to try to justify this somehow? And I think to the show's credit, they don't.
The credit?
Yes.
To the detriment.
No, I don't think they exonerate him. I think it's a good thing that they go like, yeah, no, if you were looking for some hidden meaning in this guy being a philanderer, no, he just sucked, and now he has to deal with it, and no one lets him off the hook. Both of the wives divorce him.
Sure.
All of the kids don't stop giving him shit for it. He gets exactly what he deserves. There was no greater mystery to him being a bad...
But why put it in? Why add it into the... Like, it literally didn't make any sense. That's all.
But I think basically just because it connects this cast of characters from across the world. You can have a foot for the story in Japan and a foot in America and the events in San Francisco. And Godzilla's story should have Japan in them.
Sure. Yeah. You can just make him... Like, it literally could have just followed Kentaro. That's his son name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they wanted to, like, be steeped in the mythology of the first film of the monster. See, one of the things I think the show did really well...
That was her only thing, though.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was the only thing she brought to the episode. The daughter. What's her name?
Her name was Kate.
Kate. Kate and Kentaro.
I mean, that's true. It's pretty much Kate's main contribution was really connecting to that first movie. I think that's, to me, that was enough. I think one thing that the show did really well is maybe for the first time I really felt like the MonsterVerse is, it's this cinematic universe.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
Each of the films was enough years apart and with such a wildly different tone, because we never had a returning director until now we're about to. That like it felt less like a cinematic universe, if you want to call it, more just like a series of movies. You know, and it's like, what's the difference between those two things? And it can be fuzzy. This time,
connectivity.
Yeah, this time it felt like a cinematic universe. You had a very strong tie to the first movie because most of it took place. The present time took place a year after, and then you have very strong ties to Kong Skull Island with Bill Randa's character being like a main character and being fleshed out.
Yeah.
And then we even went with the involvement of Apex and stuff tied into Godzilla vs. Kong.
Which was really cool.
Yeah.
There were a lot of cool high points, but the lows were just, for me, it was like, why do we care about these kids? I gotta say, I love Kiersey Clemons. I did forget May was in the show for the last 2 episodes. What did she add besides exposition and like they?
See, I never thought I'd have to justify Kiersey Clemons before, so I don't know.
I think once again, these actors and actresses they book the gig, so like more power to them. I just wish that for them to be such central characters throughout. Like, I'm pretty sure they were top 5 on the call sheet. I wish that they would have been used in a more influential way as opposed to just...
Well, it's a more interesting way.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get the sense that you and I probably have the same takes on this show, and it's just going to be the difference is the matter of how much that affects our overall enjoyment.
Probably.
Because I'll agree with you. The cast of human characters in the modern timeline, the kids, definitely the weaker point of the show. But the past timeline was so good. The dual performance between Kurt Russell in the present timeline and Wyatt Russell,
oh my goodness,
playing the same character. First of all, brilliant casting choice. Second of all, they just nail that so much.
Yeah.
And then on top of all that, Mari Yamamoto as Keiko Miura, she's standout. Like, honestly.
There was one moment that I was like, that don't make no sense for your character. But mostly, I enjoyed her.
What was that moment, out of curiosity?
It was at the end where they're getting ready to like hook it up and like get sent back to
and she elects to stay behind?
She's like, no, I'm going to stay here. It's not my world. I'm like, sure, but at the same time, this is the monster. Like, I met you, we thought you were dead, and then the next time I see you, you got a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
And you're hunting.
She seemed pretty determined to survive until 10 minutes ago. Yeah. That's, you know what? Again, that's fair. I think what it was is like, because that was our first glimpse from Keiko specifically, it's like, oh yeah, this whole lineage makes terrible decisions that hurt their family members. And then Kate's just there to go like, no, not this time. We're done. We're done with that. We're not doing that anymore.
So she had two good reasons to be in the
That was
story.
important for Kate to go like, no, Grandma, we're not. We're done.
That was wild.
But overall, her character and her performance really drove so much of that show for me. Also, one thing I'll note, when she came on screen, I'm assuming I'm just, and we heard her name, Keiko Miura. I'm assuming I'm just being a weeb because I'm like, oh, Miura, that's good, because that's the same last name as my favorite mangaka, the creator of Berserk, Kentaro Miura. Also, I can't help but notice Kate's brother's name is Kentaro. And I'm like, yeah, that's just for me, because like that's those Japanese names. That's just people's names.
you're the red thread.
And then Tim, in one of those episodes, goes off on a whole like spiel about anime and name drops.
Oh, the glasses man.
Yeah, the nerdy guy at Monarch gives a whole spiel about anime at one point, name dropping like Naoko Takeuchi, the mangaka of Sailor Moon. You know, he mentions, oh yeah, she's really into Bishoujo stuff. And I'm like, okay, so no, Weebs wrote this, and that's me connecting to my people. That's not me. It's not my fault.
That was a fun part where I was like, okay, and now I'm more into your character. Like I'm bought in.
I was won over by Tim pretty quick. Like by the end, it was me and my wife just rooting for Tim. We're like, yeah, it's Tim.
I thought the only other part that I also thought was like, that's poor writing. Once that same episode later, like 2 minutes later, Godzilla shows up and he's fighting Superbat.
Yeah, the Ion Dragon.
Yeah, and throughout that whole time, Kurt Russell is just like, whoa, this is amazing. And not
to be fair, so was I.
I mean, but you are watching from your couch. You know what I mean? So like there was time to like get into the pod, and I understand why. You know, like, is he dead? Is he not? He might show up and
He's probably a very expensive actor.
Yeah.
So like they're gonna.
I mean, they had him in for like what, 5 of the 10 episodes, if not at least 5.
There was a version of the character in every episode, but it wasn't always Kurt Russell. It was sometimes Wyatt Russell.
Fair enough.
But like, I mean, the MonsterVerse actually does have a history of killing off its biggest name actors. You had Bryan Cranston in the first act of the 2014 film.
That was hilarious.
You kill off John Goodman about halfway through Skull Island. Ken Watanabe gets killed off like about halfway through King of the Monsters. They make a point of killing their most expensive people.
Gotta get you guys out of here. The budget says so.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think it was really cool. One thing that I thought was really surprising, or what made me want to go back and watch, I think it's the second one when they actually go into the MonsterVerse. Yep. The fact that who is it, May and Kurt, they fall through the hole like no
I like
protection.
How he's just Kurt Russell. His character's name is Kurt Russell. It's Snake Plissken from Escape from New York.
But it's just like, they just fell through the hole, and I'm like, I feel like in the movies, they were like, they had to be in a ship because
I was going to say, I can't help but... Well, so that is briefly kind of addressed. Kind of. In a way where charitably I can bull out an explanation for. Want to see some mental gymnastics right here? Technically, that wasn't the Hollow Earth. That was the Axis Mundi, which is it is a third plane between Earth and the Hollow Earth, where it's the only place where there's a time dilation. So the properties of that are different.
Sure.
Well,
you know what?
They give you just enough. Just enough.
That's just because
they give you just enough.
We never see the actual world that we've seen in the movies.
Yeah.
We never see like mountains coming in and mountains like almost touching.
We never see the proper Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
That's their wiggle room.
Okay.
This is the Axis Mundi. It's a different thing, technically, kind of.
Sure. We'll see what happens in the movie.
Yeah.
And that's when they'll tie it all up.
Because I couldn't help but notice that in they were doing the time dilation thing. I'm like, this is really cool. This is really cool. And then I'm like, wait a minute. And then I remember in Godzilla vs. Kong, they go to the Hollow Earth, and there's no time. They don't come back 10 years later, you know? I was like, wait, what? And then I'm like, maybe they're going to do with it. And it's like, no, they explain it. This is a third thing. It's different.
So, do you think it can't be deeper, though, right? It's not deeper than Hollow Earth. It's right there in the middle.
So the way Kurt Russell explained it, because that's just his name now. The way Kurt Russell explained it, because remember May was like, we're down, right? Because we fell down a hole. And he's like, did we fall or did we enter? So he's sort of implying you're not going down. It's like a different universe. So it's like a different dimension altogether.
We'll get back to this, but first, a commercial.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy JHawk, and today I am bringing a drink called the Philosopher's Stone, and this is inspired by, you guessed it, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, because why not? For that, you're gonna need 3 somewhat simple ingredients. First up, you're gonna need pomegranate juice. Secondly, you're going to need Konpeki vodka. And third and not least, you're going to need some Kyodai sake. Now, these all 3 ingredients have a bit of a special meaning going into the drink of the Philosopher's Stone. Konpeki means perfection, and that is going to be pretty much the whole point of the Philosopher's Stone. That's what it culminates to. Kyodai can mean brothers, which Full Metal Alchemist is about 2 brothers going off on an adventure. And pomegranate juice is just gonna give you that real nice red color. Now, that being said, let's build the drink. All right, got our ingredients. Now, special, surprise if you wanna say. What I did was froze a maraschino cherry, whatever it's called. So once again, you have a red ball to make that Philosopher's Stone. With that, let's really start to build. First up, you're gonna have 2 ounces of Kyodai sake. Next up, you're going to have 1 ounce of Konpeki vodka. Last but not least, 1 ounce of pomegranate juice. All right, then you're gonna put a couple of ice cubes in there. 4 ice cubes for me. Cover the tin, give it a nice slap. Shake for about 7 to 10 seconds. And pour into the glass. And there you have it, folks, the Philosopher's Stone. Now, take a sip. You can really tell that you can really taste the vodka and the sake like really playing well together. And the pomegranate juice is just that nice, it's a pomegranate juice taste. If you like pomegranate juice, you're gonna like it because there's a splash of that in here. Kind of like an elevated, what is it called? Cranberry and vodka. So try it at home, build it at home. Let us know what you think about it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you at the next build. Kampai.
And we're back. Minus one. So, all right, we talked about what we didn't like. Let's talk about what we did like and have that intro or have that usher us into speculation.
I'll say one thing that I noticed like right away.
Sure.
They, for a TV show, even like a streaming service TV show, the effects from this were really good. And I know that's some people do complain that we didn't have enough monsters, but like it was quality over quantity because like it was movie quality. Like, it looked good.
And also, I would argue that yes, this is a Godzilla show, but this is very much, I think the MonsterVerse has been very good with introducing human characters. They fail a couple times, don't get me wrong, like some of the humans are just stupid, but with this being a very human-centric story from the outset, I thought this was like really good, really well done.
Honestly, I'd rather follow like probably not in the next movie because that's done being made. But like movies after that, if they want to start following the humans in this, take that over like Millie Bobby Brown or whatever. Like, no offense to Millie Bobby Brown. I just like
Drake's gonna come after you.
Like, I take this cast at this point, like whether I love them or not, I'm invested in like the random, especially Keiko now that she's back from the other dimension.
Sure.
Like, I take them over just the sort of rotating.
I take Keiko. I take Kentaro.
He grew on me towards the end. Once he started like telling his dad to shut up.
Yeah.
I like that.
May as a possible because diversity. Because she didn't really add anything. I'm sorry,
she didn't.
But if she's like in with Apex,
yeah,
and like
It'd
you can
cool
like work that.
It's cool to have a good guy on the inside of the bad team.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, if you can work that angle, I would take her.
I don't think any of them are beyond redemption. I think if they started writing Kate to be interesting, she could be interesting.
I don't see it.
All right.
I don't see it because, yeah, she.
We're talking about good things.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
The effects are good. The monsters look great, and the fight against the Ion Dragon was like, it was short, but it was honestly one of my favorite in this series so far. It was really cool because it was just Godzilla proving why he's the king.
Yeah,
he was like,
He's like manhandling. He literally tossed that.
He pulled that guy apart. It was brutal, and it was sometimes you need that.
One thing I noticed, Godzilla's atomic breath didn't really injure the bat.
No, the Ion Dragon was a little resistant to it.
Yeah.
It kind of shook that off. I was like, okay. I mean, kudos to the Ion Dragon. He
put up a good fight.
He tried.
He did what he could.
Yeah, he had cojones.
But I think even seeing that invulnerability, or slight invulnerability, we'll call it.
Resistance, whatever.
Resistance, it was very interesting because the only other time we've seen that is with Kong having actually a piece of the scale, Godzilla scale.
The Ion Dragon, out of all of the monsters we've seen Godzilla use his heat beam on, looked the least hurt by it.
Yes.
Because when Godzilla did connect Kong with that beam, it hurt.
Yeah.
Like, we saw that was pretty effective.
Put him
Even Ghidorah gets knocked around by that thing. But the Ion Dragon was like, no, I still want to go.
Which is a very interesting, like, I think that can add some lore.
Yeah.
Some, like, who are they? Are there more of them?
That guy had that dog in him. I mean, it was a little yappy chihuahua because he was much smaller than Godzilla. But it was a dog.
He could flap, flapping chihuahua. Mm-hmm. What else did we like about the show?
Again, I already brought it up, but Kurt Russell was delightful.
Yes.
Just every time he's on screen, he's just a joy. Mari Yamamoto's Kekamura was like the standout. Like, all of the past timeline was good. Mm-hmm. Bill Randa, Leland Shaw, those three characters forming Monarch, that was a great storyline. And I cared about all of them.
I would have, if Monarch started there, like in the past, I would have been totally, like, this probably would have been like a 4.9 for me.
Like if the whole show was just the past?
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that could have worked.
That would have been like really, and then like at the end, you just jump 20 years or some shit like that, and it's like Kurt Russell.
The past timeline was so strong that it really could have just been that segment for the whole show, and it would have probably been better. Mm-hmm. It was great performances by everyone involved. Yeah. Especially some breakout roles here.
Yeah, definitely. Where do you see it going?
So for
does it get a season 2?
So it's been doing very well. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Apple TV producers have mentioned in interviews at this point that it's been doing very well. It has not, as of yet, been officially ordered for a second season, but it's been like a week since the finale. Streaming services, sometimes it's weird, If this was a network TV, you'd probably know before the final episode aired, but it's looking pretty likely. Showrunners say they're confident because it's did good numbers. So where it could go is interesting because obviously it ends on Skull Island with a shot of Kong.
Right.
I feel like,
and then it looked like an older Kong. It looked like he needed to shave, right? Like
it's definitely more
old man Logan Kong almost.
It's definitely more like the one in as of the last two movies, like Godzilla vs. Kong, because like he is kind of old, and Adam Wingard actually talked about they deliberately put gray in his hair and kind of gave him a beard. So Kong kind of is like old man Logan.
Okay,
Kong. Yeah,
all right.
And that is who we got now, because it's 2017. We're not too far from Godzilla x Kong on the timeline, or Godzilla vs. Kong on the timeline.
But I feel like what I've seen in the trailers for Godzilla x Kong is not old man Kong. He looks a bit still like young, spry. Like he still looks like GVK.
Maybe the Hollow Earth's like good for his skin. Maybe it's like a exfoliation thing going on.
Could be. He hops in and gets like a clean shave. Like it's fine.
Maybe a little bit of Botox. He's in the movies now, so it's like
right. But I think that I agree that it's a very interesting.
It feels like they're suggesting Kong for the second season more, and that'd be fine too. I personally think if they want to maybe not have as much of a focus on Godzilla, because the show's called Monarch, it's not called Godzilla.
I was literally going to say
if they want to like give Godzilla a little bit of a break and focus on other monsters, I think they'd be better served doing like Mothra or someone else, because these movies are actually very Kong heavy. Like Godzilla versus Kong was a bit more Kong than it was Godzilla.
Well, that's because Kong is and at least from the way I see them directing it, Kong is like a bit more on human side. He's more like, we can talk to him. We can like sign language. Godzilla's just out here a force of nature wrecking it.
100%. And that's why I think it's not a bad thing that the movies that have both Godzilla and Kong in it, you maybe get a little bit more Kong because, he's relatable. I don't have a problem with that. But if we're doing the show, I think that's a good opportunity to focus on someone that's not either of them. Focus on Mothra a little bit. Focus on the guy that looks like a big woolly mammoth sloth.
Sure.
Dude. Behemoth is his name.
Like you.
Yeah.
We'll
like
talk
him.
like you.
I like that dude. The King Louis. Well, no, wait. We actually are getting a King Louis, and he's going to be bad.
Yeah.
No.
I thought that was one and the same.
No, the one he's got like mammoth tusks. He's like in a couple shots. He's in King of the Monsters, and then you see him briefly in Godzilla vs. Kong.
What?
His name is Behemoth, and he just looks cool. No one knows anything about him. He's a background character. But I think he looks cool. And that's enough for me. I want to learn more about him.
Sure. I was talking about Big Bad. I didn't know you were talking about this.
We can definitely, I feel like we're about to learn as much as we can about King Louis. I'm calling him that.
That's his name.
Scar King. Scar King Louis.
Nah, Star King Louis.
Yeah.
I think a second season, because it is called Monarch, you do probably follow Kong, if not the inner workings between Monarch and Apex.
Right.
Like, are they still buddy? Are they like not? Like he was like, Monarch's not the only one in the game.
Yeah.
So like, is it like gang warfare?
It'd be kind of funny if the next season all of our good guys are bad guys now. Like they all work for Apex now, and it's just like, shit, how did we get here?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I could see that because like Monarch kind of screwed them over, especially
They
Keiko.
did.
It's like that was my baby, and you just like
Yeah, and Monarch sort of let them all hang out to dry, and now guess what happens? They all work for Apex now. That's basically what happened. Yeah, it'd be really interesting to explore that.
Yeah. But I do think even with the success of the first season, and we'll see what the movie does, I don't think Monarch gets past the third. Honestly,
Probably not.
Honestly, second season might be like it. If they do a third, they're like reaching.
I'm pretty confident they'll do a second season. Beyond that, I don't know how much more story there would be to tell about the formation and secrets behind this organization.
Right. Yeah.
You know? Like, I think
it has to become
agree.
a totally different show.
Yeah,
Like,
basically we got to think of more things to talk about at that point. But yes, a second season I think is almost certain.
Yeah. Really?
Third season, I mean, a little early to speculate, but like, I don't see the show going on forever. You know, this isn't going to be going to be like a Supernatural 15 seasons. We've been doing this for 20 years.
I don't think that's the Apple way. I don't think that's actually the streaming way, to be honest.
No, I don't think so either.
But yeah, 2 seasons, maybe a third, depending on the subject matter and how the movies do. Overall,
I like
Monarch.
I liked it. I liked it. It was. I think it was a good time. I think it, like, for the most part, had a compelling human drama. And when you get bored of that, sometimes Godzilla will show up, and that always brightens the mood. Yeah.
It's always a good time. Well, this has been great.
Yeah, always, man.
And tell us what you thought about Monarch. If you liked it, if you loved it, if you wanted more of it. And until next time, see ya. Cheers.
Do you have a call off? Do you have a sign off yet? Or still
I don't have a
workshopping a sign off.
What do you? What's a? We can't say we can't say kampai.
You can. No one's stopping.
No,
No one's stopping.
but there's no Godzilla There's no gangs.
No. Yeah. -1.
And we'll see you again in 3, 2, 1, 0.
-1.
That's terrible. That's so bad.